Well, you couldn't even see the other night when you were driving with your glasses, and you should go to Specsavers and.
I might just start it there.
No, you need to introduce it.
Why do I need to go
to
into
introduce it.
introduction? Why do I need to introduce it after that?
There we go. Sitting there thinking they're plagiarising all my worst bits.
Not at all. When I introduce it, I go, hello everyone, welcome back to the TCF Sport podcast. My name is Ben, as ever, joined by brother Stephen. How you doing?
Bonjour.
You have no editing control over what I leave in and leave out. That's what I'm saying. I love it when we start more naturally like that. Perfect. Even though it came from my own mistake, but I don't need to leave that bit in. How you doing anyway? You're
Yeah,
right.
all good, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You?
Yeah, not too bad. You know what? You've got the outline in front of you. I'm going to give you creative control of where you want to start from any of the talking points over the last few weeks. Feel free. I think you can tell where I want to start based on how I've written the outline.
I know where you want to start.
But
Welcome back to the Arsenal Fan Podcast.
Hey, we got a lot to talk about.
No, go on, give me creative control. Do it in order.
Do it in order.
It's your podcast. Come on, do what you want to do.
Lovely.
Do the Arsenal.
So, we start with Arsenal. First and foremost, how many times you watched Declan Rice's free kick against Real Madrid?
2 or 3.
Those are rookie numbers. You've got to pump those numbers up. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I know exactly what you're on about.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the wider question, did you watch both the games against Madrid? How did you feel?
No, I saw the highlights.
No?
I saw like the 5-10 minute highlights.
Did you pick up enough of how he performed? Were you impressed? I mean, you must have been surprised. Based
I read
on
about it. I was surprised about the... Well, both of them surprised me. Because I didn't even pay attention to the 3-0 until the next morning when I woke
both
up.
you and James were asleep in the group chat.
Yeah.
I was messaging. I put a couple of messages in there of why Rice hasn't been on free kick duty before now. But both you and James woke up and was like, what?
Yeah, early mornings. I checked it. I was like 3-0. I was like, I'm still drunk from the night before. I wasn't drinking the night before.
Yeah, I mean, impressive though, isn't it?
It was,
talk
yeah.
about it, yeah.
It was. And I'll tell you what, Ty almost had it right.
Oh, what the
we're going to do 2-0 at home and 2-0 away. It was
yeah.
it was, yeah.
We should have done a 2-0 away if it wasn't for Rare giving the ball to Saliba and then Saliba losing the ball.
And then Rare being completely out of position.
You just gone 1-0 up, and yeah, I know we were 4-0 up in aggregate, but you know what Madrid can be like. Just keep it tight. No, why are you giving them the ball in the first place, especially when you're not even in the middle of your own goal? Frustrating, but yeah. Besides that, I'm so glad we won it at the end because we were that good out there that we deserve to beat them. I mean,
good.
Nullified Madrid's threat completely. How do you feel about the semi-final though? Can we back it up against PSG?
No.
Why are you so negative all the time?
Because I've been an Arsenal fan for a long time. It's the hope that kills you. And all this stuff about every time a Pope dies, an English team win the Champions League. Yeah, we'll break that. There was something else. I don't know. I can't remember whenever a team a certain amount of points, they'll win the league. We didn't do that.
There's that. There's also, I think, the last 4 finals that have been played in Germany, not specifically the Allianz Arena, but I think a new team has won the Champions League for the first time. Now, obviously, that can be applied to both us and PSG, but none of those stats matter. It's all... It's a Fugazi to get
Just get on and do the job.
Yeah. But you must have taken hope from the Madrid performance to think... I'm not saying...
No, because as much as I know I said on this podcast, Ancelotti, better manager and the players and et cetera, they're not firing on all cylinders, are they, Madrid?
No, I know.
We beat a good Madrid team, but they're not a Madrid team that are clicking into gear.
Nobody. I mean, they very rarely click into gear in the Champions League, though. They just have a way of getting over the line. So the fact that we've done them... I mean, better teams have gone to them in the past and outplayed them across the vast majority of both games. City in 2022-23, for example, when Madrid scored 2 goals right at the end. But it got them through. So you have to take credit from the fact that, aside with all of that European history, everyone always talks about, those with more European history and European experience just tend to have that nous in that competition. It didn't matter. We were better across both legs. And I'm not saying we're going to beat PSG, but you have to go into it with a little bit of more hope, surely.
No.
You depress him. No, I'm not having it.
I'll talk to me after the first leg, then I'll tell you how much hope I've got. I'll wait until after the first leg because I know the league's been done, but there's some silly mistakes there. If we draw an aggregate against Paris Saint-Germain, we're going out because David Raya likes to just leave an empty net for people.
But I don't understand the point of him jumping out of the way of penalties against Porto last year in the Champions League, for example, when he saved 2, he was really good. And then what has changed to this season? The United
penalty shootout.
Yeah, in the FA Cup. I think Kane mentioned last year, because obviously we drew 2-2 at the Emirates Stadium, but Kane said Raya likes to move early, hence why he put a stutter in his run up then. But also there's another one after the United game recently.
Everton.
Yes, of course it was. Yeah, when Njai scored.
He hadn't even... Njai was still on the edge of the box, and Raya had actually already dived. He dived so far, he was at the corner flag, and Njai was like, thanks, mate.
Yeah. But,
yeah, but someone needs to have a word with him, and they need to change that, and they need to change that quickly.
Well, yeah, because if it does go...
Same with his positioning, because it cost us... I know Saliba lost the ball, but it cost us the Palace equaliser.
Do you blame...
Good finish by Mateta.
It was a very good finish by Mateta. Eze's strike was good as well. Do you blame Raya for that, or do you blame the coach and staff?
6 and 1 half a dozen error, but Raya's the one on the pitch, so he should be able to see and sense the danger as well, though, shouldn't he?
I know. It's that thing of, do you take authority yourself, act a little bit more independent?
I mean, they're surely not going to drop him because they don't have anyone behind him.
Oh no, they
really.
wouldn't. They wouldn't drop him. Not saying it. Well,
no, that's what I'm saying. If he wasn't to follow instructions, would they drop him? Surely they can't.
Yeah, no, fair enough. That's actually a good point. Yeah. But we've done it all season. I remember, obviously, we went to see the Bolton game right at the start of the year in the League Cup, and obviously the 16-year-old was in goal, and he was doing the exact same thing, because you, me and Dad were out in the upper tier, wondering why he was so far out of goal when we've got possession of the ball.
Past his bedtime.
Obviously, it's to give a different angle, but... Can you tell me why Declan Rice hasn't been on free kick duty thus far either?
Saving him for corners.
Yeah, I mean, the second one was a perler, wasn't it?
I don't know which one was better, the first one or the second one, because the first one's got to bend it around the wall, and then the second one just top bins.
Second one all day for me, just because of the aesthetics of it going top bins.
But the first one, he bends it around the wall and beats Courtois that way as well, which is just... You'd expect to see something go top bins from a good free kick taker. But how many times do you see it bend around the wall like that? And a keeper of Courtois' quality, although he did cost Real Madrid the equaliser last night in the Copa del Rey against Barcelona.
Did you watch? You seen the highlights?
I've seen the highlights. Yeah, I watched them on YouTube.
Yeah, but all the stuff going off the pitch with Madrid before the game, and then obviously while the game was being played, Rudiger's since come out and apologised. It's pathetic, isn't it?
Yeah, but I also think it's a little bit like we've come so far as a society now where we're having referees being interviewed and like your grown man crying on TV, unless you, I don't know, because Real Madrid had released a statement saying that they didn't trust the referees to be fair and this, that, and the other, and
it didn't look like it was just a statement though. Don't get me wrong, I'm not sure why he was interviewed in the first place.
Because they withdrew something as well. After he did that, they withdrew something that was going to put out Real Madrid.
Well, because the two biggest clubs in Spain, Barca and Madrid, they've got so many different newspapers reporting them. They've obviously got their own TV channels as well. I think they put something out on the TV channel, question the referee, because after the appointment was made or in the lead up to the game, they weren't happy and wanted him to be replaced. They also withdrew from certain like pre-match events. I don't know, it just felt a bit pathetic, like going overboard. You're already looking for excuses before you've even played the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially considering from what I saw, he had a fairly decent game. He also, Barcelona ruled it a penalty, and then he overturned it on VAR correctly as well, because there was no contact.
It was a dive,
yeah. But it's the stuff that was happening at the end of the game. It was pathetic.
Oh yeah, I know. Just win the game.
But that's Rudiger for you. Rudiger is the biggest wind-up merchant going, and he also got Party booked. Party like the absolute idiot that he was at the end of the game at the Bernabeu. He's going to get involved for no reason at all, and it's 1-1, 5 minutes left, obviously 3 goals ahead on aggregate. Rice was fuming with him, absolutely fuming, and rightfully so. Because I know you said that he shouldn't be given a new contract, but over the last few weeks, and especially when he plays holding midfield and not right back, he has played pretty well. That balance in midfield of Partey, Rice and Ødegaard is quite nice. It also frees Rice to get forwards a little bit more and have a bit more of an attacking threat. Obviously with him now missing the game, the first leg, it makes me wonder if he'll drop Rice back into the 6, especially if Jorginho's injured, play Marino, and then obviously somebody else will have to start up top. But we'll see what happens.
Start Trossard up top?
Yeah, it's just that balance that was so nice against Madrid is at least going to be affected in the first game against PSG.
I mean, they've played PSG though, haven't they? So they know what they're about a little bit.
Yeah,
so
they have improved. They've come on massively.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, Villa were 2-0 down at home and did them 3-2 and almost made it 4, didn't they?
They should have. Did you see those highlights?
What's the defender from Chelsea? Matson? Is that it?
Yes. Yeah.
Did he see his buddy Ollie?
Right at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and the defender got in the way of it.
Chances before that, though, Asensio had one that Donnarumma saved. I mean, it would have been funny, considering Asensio is obviously on loan from PSG, if he'd levelled up the tie by scoring for Aston Villa.
He's on loan from Paris Saint-Germain.
He's on loan from Paris Saint-Germain. Different rules for European competitions. So if you're on loan, if we had a player from PSG, he'd be able to play against PSG.
I thought they stopped that for a little while because Morientes was on loan at Monaco years ago and knocked out Real Madrid.
They did stop it, but it was also the whole cup tied thing, wasn't it? Because if you signed the player permanently, so I remember the last year that this was in effect, we signed Aubameyang, I think in January 2018, but we signed him from Dortmund, and then Aubameyang couldn't play in the European competition that we were in that year. It must have been Europa League, because that was the time under Wenger that we were only qualifying for the Europa League. But then the season after that, all of that was scrapped. So if you signed a player, even if the player already played in the Champions League that year, they could then play for you in the Champions League as well.
Interesting. I didn't realise that.
Yeah, but that's why it would have been quite funny had Asensio scored. But I mean, Villa, yeah, they were unlucky in the end, but it's what it is. You don't take your chances. Obviously, Donnarumma was big in goal.
Yeah, the third goal in Paris didn't really, didn't it, that late one. But there you go. They gave a good account of themselves.
Yeah. So who do you think will progress through to the final then? If you're saying that we haven't got a chance, you going PSG against somebody else?
Yeah, PSG against, I'm going to say Inter Milan.
Do you think it's the most open Champions League in recent years, just in terms of how evenly matched the four sides are?
Yeah, because what was interesting about all the second legs, other than the Arsenal one, you had Dortmund push Barcelona all the way, and they had about, I think, 2 goals disallowed for offside, and they were offside, but bear in mind Barca went in 4-0 up. All right, lost 3-1 on the night, but that could have gone completely different. The only other side that did all right really was Inter Milan against Bayern Munich.
Yeah, but even then, the chances in some of those, at the San Siro, but we'll talk about it now. You messaged me the highlights after the first leg. Harry Kane's miss at 0-0. Is that backing up your point that he's not world class?
Like 6 yards out,
But
nothing in front of him.
Whole left-hand side of the goal.
Doesn't even hit the target.
You could tell by Elise's reaction as well, innit? Because I think it was Elise who knocked the ball onto him. And yeah, I mean...
Did Elise go, go back to Tottenham?
It's the Tottenham gene in him. I mean, he scored a good equaliser to level up the tie at the San Siro, but at 0-0, that goal was massive.
But that's all well and good, isn't it, getting an equaliser, but they were still behind on the night, weren't they? As in, like, on aggregate. So they were still chasing the game.
I think that equaliser was levelled up, so it put them ahead on the night, but it levelled up the tie.
Levelled up the tie.
Because he scored the first goal at the San Siro, and then Inter Milan scored a quick double after that.
Yeah, well, there you go. He might be coming back to the Premier League in the summer.
He's got a clause in his contract, I think, that a club can buy him for £50 million if they want him. I think Tottenham obviously have first rights.
I don't know why they'd get rid of him, because he's still scoring goals.
Yeah. Well, it looks like he's going to win his first trophy because of where they are in the league at the moment, which is...
Yay! Second, they won the Audi Cup pre-season.
I think that was at the Allianz Arena.
Celebrated like it was the Champions League after losing the Champions League the previous season.
Didn't they win the Audi Cup a couple of years in a row?
Oh, did they? I don't know. I just remember seeing them celebrate like it was a real trophy. It's like, yeah, our trophy cabinet ain't empty anymore. Did you see that thing about Conor Benn? From the fight last night?
I didn't, no.
So after the fight, he said he needed some time in an empty room to just collect his thoughts. And Daniel Levy said, use the trophy room.
I could see that was going. As soon as you said he needed some time in an empty room.
I saw one of those memes. I thought it was quite good. The internet's quite fast.
No, what I sent you, though, is the boxer. It was obviously an Arsenal fan coming out to North London forever at the Tottenham Hotspur
Spurs
Stadium.
fans are fuming at that. Absolutely fuming.
I mean...
What are they going to tell him, though? I mean, could they say no to him? Could they tell him no and say pick another song?
I don't really think so, because he's allowed to pick whatever song he wants. It was just quite funny. And even though he lost the fight by the looks of it, he's like social media famous after that. So
well, he's won then, isn't he? There you go.
Yeah. Talking of Tottenham, though, I think we should come to the Europa League on the... while we're talking about Europe. We'll come to Tottenham first.
Oh, yeah, Europa League. Are you sure we got Paris Saint-Germain?
Is that a reference to the fact the different anthem was played? Did you see all the PSG players' faces as well? Like, what? I'm not used to this.
And I looked at Villa and was like, maybe.
Maybe next season,
They're not
lads.
always in the Champions League, are they?
Next season, lads. Yeah, it was quite funny. Did you see any of the Europa League games though? United and Tottenham.
I've seen the highlights. Yeah, I have watched all the highlights on YouTube. The United one made me laugh because they went 2 goals behind to a team of 10 men.
I know.
And then,
but it's Jesse Marsh.
they got 10 players. And the way they're talking about this comeback, and it's just like, yeah, but you shouldn't be going 2 goals behind to a team of 10 men.
I know.
Or sorry, I apologise. 10 players. 10 players.
But it's like
10
them
men.
talking about it afterwards, and I get where United are at the moment, but they're saying it could be their greatest European night at Old Trafford. But I'm thinking about the Barcelona
at
win.
Old Trafford.
That's what I mean. The Barcelona win, for
Doing
example.
Roma 7-1.
Or that, yeah. When
Did they win it that season after doing that as well? I think.
would it be
maybe
to Roma 7-1?
Yeah.
If it was the same year, so they won it. You know when Paul Scholes scored that goal, they beat Barcelona 1-0 in aggregate across 2 legs. But this was, I think it was Pep's first season, so it's the Barcelona team that he was building, and they were quality. Did really well out the new camp to keep it 0-0. Obviously come back to Old Trafford, Paul Scholes scores a worldie, gets them through to the final there, and then go on and win it. Surely that is an example. Like you mentioned, the Roma win, which absolutely battered them in a knockout game. That was, wasn't it? It wasn't just a group game.
No,
It was a knockout game.
Yeah.
Like, how far has that club fallen? Don't get me wrong, it was a really good win.
I think these days now it's more social media hype and clickbait stuff.
Yeah.
Like, or people that have never seen those games and don't really know about them.
Well, it speaks of like
Maybe we're showing our age.
or the touristy kind of thing, then, isn't it? Or the newer fan, not to put fans into categories, but yeah, I don't really know.
Yeah.
You go from a club that was competing for Champions Leagues and now sort of scraping the barrel.
I mean, if it's a Man United Spurs final, that'd be amazing because they'll be both desperate to win to get to the Champions League, won't they?
Mm-hmm. It would be. Really
It won't be.
funny.
It's going to be a Bodo Glint, Bilbao final.
Tottenham-
Bilbao are the winners in that one, by the way. It is Bilbao, isn't it?
It is Bilbao, yeah. Athletic Bilbao. They
Bilbao
should.
Baggins. Sorry. Come to the Shire for the Europa League. What?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Especially just because it's a club that only takes players from the Basque region in Spain. So,
Okay.
yeah, the Irish accent. Fair enough.
Bilbao Baggins, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, yeah, they should because they're the strongest squad and they're performing best out of any of the teams left in it in the league. But United, the way that they did Lyon, I don't know if that's just like European pedigree or it's just mental. I don't know. I couldn't really tell you. Tottenham, yeah, as good as Bodo Glimt have been to get to the semi-finals of this competition, they should be doing them. They should be doing them.
But it's in Spurs DNA to have a team that be like, oh yeah, we should absolutely do these, and they'll go out there and they'll get done by 2 or 3.
Yeah. So you don't think they'll make the final? Tottenham?
No, I don't.
We will disagree, but that means that you think that Ange won't continue his record of winning something in his second season.
Yeah, I mean, he's managed to eke it out for quite some time, hasn't he? When he said that earlier on in the season, it was like, do you know where you are?
Yeah. What club you're at.
Yeah.
The managers that have come before you that, with the greatest respect to Postecoglou, not to criticise him, but Mourinho and Conte
No clue,
especially.
bruv.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, his funny expressions, I do like him.
I mean, some of the stuff, if he comes up, whether he comes up with it naturally or he writes it down first, it's mental.
I think he's natural when he's watching the game, isn't
Yeah.
he? But so I think other stuff is just probably a little bit pre-planned, but it's still funny.
Yeah. Do you think if they do win the Europa League, Postecoglou will keep his job?
No.
Why did you say that?
Because it's the history of the Tottenham. No, I don't. I think fans aren't happy with him. He's probably not too happy with the board and the way the club's run, maybe. His press conferences have certainly got a bit more spiky, haven't they?
Yeah. Which makes them interesting to watch, don't get me wrong, whereas
Yeah.
neutral. Yeah.
Sitting there with the popple going,
Yeah.
it's gonna blow.
What was he going to say this time? What was he going to say this time?
Yeah, but have you seen who's apparently been linked? I think, did I forward it on to you?
I don't think so, no.
I'm not sure how much truth is but anyway, Scott Parker.
Oh, sorry, you did. But I don't know if that was a link or if that was just you forwarded on Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy, is it, on TalkSport?
Oh, yeah.
Talking about, Scott Parker would be great there. Scott Parker would be great there.
But you know when you sort of, you hear that and you go, so you're thinking all these managers you want to go for, and then the guy who just got promoted from the Championship and hasn't been able to do it in the Premier League twice before. And if he stays at Burnley, he won't be doing it again this coming season.
Yeah.
But then you sort of think, all the ones you mentioned before, Iriola,
Thomas Frank, Marco Silva.
Does that mean they've already had the conversations? They've all gone, nah.
Well, I hadn't seen the Parker links, and I don't know if that's just Jamie O'Hara talking about Scott Parker. Maybe because
he got promoted.
That, and he played with him as well, didn't he, at Tottenham?
Oh, friend.
Yeah. But
that might take us nicely onto Jamie Vardy in a minute. Ooh, Danish friend.
We'll speak about some of his top moments. We'll come to in a very short while. Yeah, because when we had the conversation last time, obviously Iriola, Thomas Frank and Marco Silva, I don't know if you made the point, but they're doing very well, but they're probably not like that elite level manager yet. Whether they could go out and get somebody elite, I don't really know, but they're certainly all better than Scott Parker.
They couldn't get elite because elite will want
backing.
Look at Mourinho and Conte. They want to do things their way. They want certain financial guarantees. They want certain players there. Look at Conte's
last press conference,
the Southampton one, wasn't it? Like where he was basically saying, "I've never seen anything like this. Afraid to win almost." Like I said, the mentality.
Which Postecoglou's also called out to his credit a few times. I know we've mentioned it a few times in the last podcast, but that game against City last year that Tottenham fans wanted to lose because obviously it would avoid us winning the league. That's the mentality thing. The whole culture of the club needs changing. And you mentioned earlier about his press conferences becoming a bit more spiky. Obviously, yes, results on the pitch haven't been good enough, which even if they win the Europa League means he probably won't be there next season.
Not just results, performances though.
Yeah.
Some of the performances have been dire, haven't they?
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, it's been great to watch doing goals.
What did you say this season before we started recording? Sorry, they've lost 19 games now in the Premier League.
Yeah, and there's still 4 games left to go.
Mental, absolutely mental. I mean, in any other season,
they've lost so far at the moment over 50% of their games.
Yeah, and if the relegated sides, the sides that have been promoted from the Championship, if there wasn't such a big gap in a traditional season, they probably would be.
They'd be close, but they're
a little bit. 37 points,
aren't they? So they'd be close to safety, but they still might be going to the wire.
Yeah,
but they should be all right.
Yeah. Anyway, you mentioned his press conferences. I think the other day he was talking about, there's definitely a leak at this club.
I saw that. Yeah, a couple of weeks ago now, wasn't it? He said that someone, what are they leaking? That Spurs are rubbish because we don't need a leak for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think sometimes some stuff's put out there to try and detract away from just how poor things have been.
Mm-hmm.
What are they leaking? The team? What, an hour or so before? Don't worry. You keep your team secret till 5 minutes before. They'll still get turned over, wouldn't they? I don't know.
It's mental, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely mental. But it just smacks of somebody that isn't going to be there next season.
Oh yeah,
he knows that.
He knows that.
Yeah.
He knows that.
All right, before we come to the Premier League, I did just want to have a quick word on the old Wooden Spoon Cup, Europa Conference League. Not really in any detail because I don't actually care about it. I just wanted to laugh at Chelsea because even though in the semi-finals they lost to Legia Warsaw in the home leg.
2-1 they lost.
They lost 2-1.
They'd done the job out there though, didn't they?
They did do the job out there, but because of the standard of performances or the way they performed on the evening, as well as recently, because they haven't obviously been in the best form over the last few months.
2 at least though, haven't they?
Again, performances though.
Fulham and Everton.
The win at Fulham was massive in terms of how they turned it around last 10 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I know. But if they want to qualify for the top 4, it's those sort of games that you look back on at the end of the season and think, all right, fair enough. But because of the result and also the performance in the second leg of the game in the Europa Conference League, they got booed off the pitch, which is quite funny for a club that's making the European semi-final. Whatever you think about that competition, to get booed off the pitch, it kind of smacks of where they are at the moment or where they've been over the last few months.
Forza Fiorentina.
Or Betis.
Yeah. I was talking to a Chelsea fan who's a season ticket holder and basically saying that for the first half of the season it was Pochettino's team. That's why they did so well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I think is probably a little bit disingenuous. Because it's still the same players at the moment. But Maresca had this same issue at Leicester last season, didn't he? After the first 2/3, they then dropped off. So there's got to be something in the training or something like that in there for it to continue.
I said, though, from an article that I read in The Athletic, supposedly all the players, or a lot of the players, liked the trainer methods because of the tactical detail and analysis that went into it. But since the article's come out, there's also been a drop-off in form. It looks, obviously, I don't think Palmer's scored in quite a few games
I saw
now.
on the stats, they said 17 games?
Yeah.
That must be all competitions.
Yeah, but he's not getting the best out of him and however they're playing. I know he's missed a few chances. He obviously missed a penalty against Leicester, but everything used to go through him.
I saw another meme about that. It's like, that 2023-24 season, the streets won't forget Palmer. I was like, oh no. It's like Adels Raps all over again.
He did it for a season and a half, didn't he? Palmer.
Yeah, no, I'll be thinking it'll be fine to start it next season again. Yeah, strange one really, but they picked up a couple of wins in the Premier League, didn't they? Because they lost the under-21s, didn't they? Behind closed doors.
Yes.
Game. And he was fuming because they were supposed to have a day off the next day, and he brought them all in. Like he was fuming. Was it 3-0? 3-0. I think they lost.
Yeah, 3-0. Obviously, I don't know what team they put out, but if you got your first team squad,
it was a proper first team. Yeah,
yeah, but
that's why I had them in our predictions to lose that weekend. I can't remember who I was playing. It wasn't Fulham. It was maybe a couple of match weeks before that, and I had them to lose, and they actually went out and won. So, but yeah, that was quite funny, really.
Yeah, because I saw that as well, and I thought, again, just sums up where they were or where they are at the moment. And as much as they've won the last couple of games, they've got 4 tough games left this season. They've got to go to St James's Park. They've got to go to Forest in the last game of the season. I think the next game is against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, and obviously Liverpool haven't won the league. They might not take it seriously, and then they've got United at Stamford Bridge as well.
Okay, so the Liverpool one might be a bit of a gimme, but the Forest one will be a good one. Newcastle at St James's Park will be decent.
Newcastle will blow them away.
Yeah, well, they're going to do us again, aren't they? Because we've got to go there still, haven't we?
No, Newcastle.
They
come to us.
But they'll still beat us.
Yeah,
well, hopefully we'll rest a few players because we'll be in the Champions League final. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Right, as we're on the Premier League, we'll continue with some talking points there. We'll come to Aston Villa in a minute, actually, because you mentioned Vardy. So, have you got any more Jamie Vardy antics? Some of the best that you want to talk about?
Some of the best I want to talk about.
Last episode, I don't know if you saw the clip that I put out the other day. You mentioned the howling against Wolves.
Yeah.
We also did the Tottenham, obviously pointing to the badge.
Yeah,
which
I saw that clip. That was
brilliant.
Good. Yeah.
I think last season against Bristol City, the one that went under the radar a little bit.
He ran the other end, didn't he? Celebrate in front of them.
Yeah.
And people were going to be going, hypocrites, because you hated Adebayor for that. I thought it was a good celebration.
I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah. Oh, well done, Addy. Good celebration, that. I can see why he went to City.
Yeah.
Like,
the thing that was annoying about that game, as we take it back to Arsenal straight away, is didn't Adebayor stamp on Van Persie or Fabregas? Who it was, nobody got him back.
yeah, I know, because they didn't have a backbone.
Yeah, back then.
Vieira done them. Anyway, I need to go back to Jamie Vardy.
Yeah. The reason why he ran to celebrate in front of Bristol City fans is because they were taking the mick out of, obviously, his wife and the court case and whatever.
Yeah, I know.
All game chanting.
Yeah,
so he scores the winner.
Yeah, no, fair play.
So that was to celebrate, yeah.
I think he said, didn't he, if they give it, they got to expect some back. And that's what I like about him. Like, if you're giving it to him, give some back.
Yeah. It's like, you've already mentioned the Danish friends as well, slightly different capacity. There was also a couple of games, I think actually no, just one game against Wolves that he was pictured coming off the bench down in a Red Bull, right, as he was about to come on. I think he came on and scored, so, quality. The celebrating in front of Palace fans, he did the Eagle celebration.
Eagle thing,
a bit like Njai did with Brighton and the old Seagulls as well, recently when he got booked.
Yeah, I know.
And, of course, the last one, playing against Sheffield United, was when he absolutely caned the corner flag.
The pride flag.
Yeah, obviously that happened to be what was on the corner flag. I imagine he took the corner flag out because he was Sheffield Wednesday, wasn't he? So he was just...
Well, there's another one at Sheffield United. From after that, he scores, and I think they're giving him the old verbals, and he stands right in front of him. He's going like that to him. Yeah.
It's quality,
he was funny,
It's quality.
Have you seen who he's been potentially linked with?
I heard, so somebody commented on that clip that I put out saying that Rangers are supposedly in for him.
Really?
I'd also seen links with Celtic, so obviously Scotland's two biggest sides.
I've seen Wrexham, because obviously they're coming up to the Championship, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't imagine another Premier League club will take him. Although if he drops down to the Championship, he's going to obviously have to play against Leicester.
Yeah, but if they don't want to renew his contract.
I think it's also because of the wages that he's on. He would have been the highest paid player, I imagine.
Yeah. Wrexham won't care what money it costs.
No.
Because they're trying to get promoted again, aren't they?
That would be mental, wouldn't it? They've had 3 successive. I imagine there must come a point, surely, where enough is enough. Like the level gets too hard to get promoted
because they've got so much money behind them, haven't they? They'll just buy what they need to buy to get promoted. But it'll be hilarious because what will happen then is they'll get promoted to the Premier League and then they'll go and go all the way back down.
Yeah, because you're talking about they've got so much money behind them, and yes, they do. But again, obviously, the higher up the divisions you go, the more money the clubs around you also have, so that it just balances it out. And yeah, I mean, even if they do have a lot of money behind them, the fact they've gone from non-league to Championship in 3 years is quite mental. So fair play to them. They're doing what Salford want to be.
Yeah. And was it Crawley Town tried to do as well a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know who the owners were behind Crawley, but obviously Salford, you had the class of 92 with Peter Lim, who is a businessman associated.
Class of 92?
Yeah.
Oh, Ronnie, John and Mark.
Hey, every year, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the snooker, but every year when they're doing well, all we ever hear about at the Crucible, class of 92, they're doing so well. How long are they going to last? Every year.
Well, they outlasted Giggs, Neville, Scholes. Like, you don't see them still playing, do you? These boys are still playing. They're on the bays, mate. But I agree with them. I'll disagree with you there. I agree. I just think it was. Is it Dennis Taylor talking about it last night? And you just sort of think. But I still like watching sort of John Higgins. They're still entertaining to watch, and they're still the ones to beat, really.
Yeah, well, obviously Higgins and Williams are playing against each other, so we'll have one of them in the semis.
That'd be brilliant. That'd be a good game.
Yeah, I don't disagree, obviously, that what they're doing is remarkable. It's just the fact that we hear about it every single year. And I don't know, I guess
that longevity is
point.
remarkable. Because if you look at the likes of Steve Davis, when they were their age, or even 5 to 10 years younger, that was when they started tailing off. But these are still getting to finals, still winning things.
Even Hendry, obviously he dominated the 90s, didn't he? But he didn't win a World Championship outside of the 1990s.
No.
So the fact that O'Sullivan, for example, has won it in 3 decades, didn't he? He won it right at the start of the 2000s. He won it, obviously, 2010s a couple of times. And he's won a couple in this decade there so fair play.
He'll be still going at 60, wouldn't he?
Yeah, although obviously with his interviews, it's you never know with O'Sullivan where he is, what he's doing.
Well, I was sitting there thinking, didn't he do this a few years ago with the World Championship, where he took a few months off before it got sort of like burnout or whatever? Took a few months off and came back and did quite well.
So I don't know about a few years ago, but obviously it's the famous example. So he won it in 2012 or 2013 against Ali Carter, then took a hiatus for the whole year, and then came back just for the World Championships and won it again. Yeah, against Barry Hawkins in the final.
That might be. So I think, did he do it 2012 and 2013 then? So that might be that then.
Yeah. Obviously he's taken certain times.
Or taken off since January, didn't he? Because he
smashed his queue up.
Yeah. Fair enough.
How have we gone from Jamie Vardy to class of 92? I was via Wrexham, wasn't
it?
Yeah.
Amazing. Come with us on a journey. Better than acid. And we're not using that either.
Speak for yourself. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see where Vardy goes, to go back to the football, and what level he wants to play at. A move to Scotland wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but all we can say is fair play for what he did in the Premier League.
I mean, if he wants to win things, go to Celtic. If he doesn't, go to Rangers.
He'd be reunited with Brendan Rodgers, isn't it?
Reunited in it. Yeah.
He's been linked with a Tottenham job, Brendan Rodgers.
He was linked with it before, wasn't he? Mm-hmm. Again, I don't see him going to that.
Well, he came out after because they won the league yesterday. It was confirmed. We knew they were winning the league before the ball was kicked the season. But they won the league yesterday. He said after the game that 200% he'll be at Celtic next season.
Oh, so he's going to Spurs then?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Because I don't know exactly what he said at the time that he was linked with Leicester, but obviously he left Celtic mid-season, which rankled a bit with their fans, rightfully so. Don't know.
Oh, so if he goes there, do you think Postecoglou will go back to Celtic? Because he was loved up there.
All you've got to do is win the league. It's
well, do the treble. Did he win the league unbeaten with Celtic?
Postecoglou? No, Rodgers did. But I think, didn't Rangers do it first with Gerrard, and then Celtic did it afterwards with Rodgers? I think. I can't remember though exactly off the top of my head. Aston Villa, because I want to talk about a few other Premier League talking points. So have you been surprised that Emery has been starting Rashford ahead of Watkins in the number 9 position in their biggest games? Obviously against PSG, both legs against PSG, he started Rashford.
Not really, because Rashford's come to form a little bit, and Rashford's got the experience of the big games.
But in the number 9 position specifically, because Watkins holds the ball up a lot better.
Yeah, but he's not playing to hold the ball up, is he? He's playing to break through the lines.
No,
so
I know, but
his pace.
If you're going to be under pressure like they were against PSG, to have that outlet, don't get me wrong, I'm not criticising Rashford's
He wants to run onto the ball. Instead of playing the ball up to the big lad to try and hold it up, he wants to play it over the big lad and run on. But Rashford's got more pace, hasn't he?
There are a couple of times against PSG, so PSG's first goal in the second leg, for example, that Rashford had the ball, lost the ball, they got countered, and PSG scored. But obviously that's balanced out by Ezri Konsa's goal, where Rashford picked up the ball out wide, took it past 2 players really well, and put it on a plate for Konsa to score. I was just surprised, considering Watkins could have gone to Arsenal in January. I know we didn't offer what they wanted, but they kept Watkins over John Duran, and now to see him being dropped for Rashford, who's obviously only there on loan.
Well, that's down to the manager, isn't it? You make big decisions, don't you? So
Fair enough.
His form has been... He's not been as good this season as he was last season, was he, Watkins? No. But you need competition for places, and he played Newcastle off the park last week.
Yeah. So, did you see what he said after the game, though?
Yeah. He wasn't rude about it, was he? He was just honest.
Yeah.
So...
And he was dropped against City.
And then but you want... Yeah, but... He's rotating a little bit as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I was being a bit disingenuous. It's not so much as being dropped, it's rotating the squad, using players in certain games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Supposedly, to bring it back to Arsenal again, Watkins was offered to us by Aston Villa in January. I don't know if you'd seen that, but we didn't offer enough money. I mean, it's a bit of a what if, really, but...
I don't think as much as we need a striker, I don't think it'd have helped us win the league this season. And obviously, if Villa wanted too much money, they're better off saving that money and putting it towards someone in the summer.
Yeah. I thought you might say that because you said it previously.
Yeah.
Obviously, January is a harder month to.
Do you know who I've
business.
been thinking maybe they should go for? Mateta.
Well, he's out of contract next year. He's been linked with a few clubs. United have been linked with him.
United have been linked with everyone. Well, Mateta, Cunha.
They're looking like they're going to buy Cunha. They're in pole position to sign him.
I've got to be honest, and it's not because it's United. I just don't know why you'd go there at the moment. Like, Cunha's a good player, and hopefully it would work out for him. But if it doesn't, you then got a really decent signing, or what you think was a decent signing. It's still not working.
Yeah.
How long before the manager gets sacked next season?
How many players in recent years, good players, have gone there and just been swallowed up by that club?
Yeah.
Like, better players than Cunha have gone there, and Cunha is a good player and really struggled. So I don't know if it's the weight of the shirt. I don't know if it's just the culture of the club at the moment. Yeah, it's massive. Why would you want to go there?
Well, I do wonder that to myself sometimes.
Yeah. It looks like Rashford as well, just to bring it back to him, doesn't look like he'll be playing for United again while Amorim is there, according to what he's come out and said. As such, where do you think he'll go? Would you have him at Arsenal?
If he was on the form that is shown for Villa, then yeah. Because you need depth in your squad, don't you? And he can play on the left and you can play through the middle. And playing through the middle is probably a better finisher than what we've got at the moment. As in, like, available, not talking about injuries.
I would much rather him be playing off the left. It's not good enough to be playing through the middle, as Mourinho said, just because if you want somebody to hold the ball up, most of the time seems to sit deep against us, which means you can't utilise his pace.
On a slightly different note, I'll get my phone with this one. I was talking to Dad about this the other day. You know, you got the goal scoring leagues.
Yeah.
Have a guess where the first Arsenal player is and how many goals they're on.
In the Premier League?
Yeah, Premier League goals.
So I think they'll be on 7 or 8 goals. And it would probably be Havertz. If it's not Havertz, it'll be Mourinho, but I think he's only got 6.
It's Havertz.
So I'm going to go 7.
He's on 9 goals.
Oh, 9.
Do you know where that places him?
20th?
23rd. Good guess.
Yeah.
There is what tells you what our issue is, isn't it?
Yeah.
The next one is Trossard on 8.
And that's only because he got a double against Ipswich the other week. But the amazing thing is...
He didn't get one against Palace, did he?
He did get one.
Yeah.
It was deflected. The amazing thing is we've still scored 63 goals this season, which puts us 17 behind Liverpool. So obviously that shows you why we're nowhere near Liverpool, which is obviously where we wanted to be.
Although Salah's stats, he's on 28 goals, which is a bit insane this season.
Fair enough. But then we're only 2 and 3 behind Newcastle and City respectively, who are second and third in terms of the goal scoring charts. So on the one hand, it is good that our goals are shared around, but in those biggest games, you need a killer.
Yeah, you need someone who's clinical.
Yeah. But that's why we...
Harry Kane's got a clause in his contract.
I'd have my Arsenal.
I wouldn't, too old.
I thought you might say that. Yeah. And that's been some of the criticism that's been... Not people criticising him because of his age, but just saying that he can't press the way that modern teams want to press.
Yeah, but again, he doesn't press. What do you want him to do? Press or score? Want him to score.
I know.
But even then he didn't against Inter Milan, so...
Yeah, he did in the second leg, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of United, I just want to do a little thing. Rather than talk about the top 5, place these clubs in order of where you think they'll finish in the league. So Wolves, United, Everton, Tottenham and West Ham between 13th and 17th.
Can you tell me who they're playing for the final 4 games, each of them? Or no?
I can bring it up for you right now. So Wolves have got... Wolves in their last 4 games have got City away, Brighton at home, Palace away and Brentford at home. Manchester United have got Brentford away, West Ham at home, Chelsea away, Aston Villa at home, and obviously Europa League semi-finals around that. Everton have got Ipswich at home, Fulham away, Southampton at home, Newcastle away, so should be guaranteed 6 points there. Tottenham have got West Ham away, Palace at home, Aston Villa away, Brighton at home, and obviously a Europa League semi-final around that. And
You'll find out in a minute.
Fair enough. And West Ham have got Tottenham at home, United away, Forest at home, Ipswich away.
Forest at home, Ipswich away.
Yes.
Okay, so... In that way, then, for me, it'll be Wolves, Everton, West Ham, United, Spurs. When you said Spurs' fixtures, I just went lost.
Did you have the 2 Europa League defeats in there as well?
No, I saw Brighton. They might get a draw. West Ham away. West Ham a bit like Spurs at the moment, where they're just too unpredictable.
They seem to perform better against the so-called bigger sides or better sides.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Villa game, they're not going to do anything against Villa. So, yeah. So Wolves, Everton, West Ham, United, Spurs.
So you've got United finishing 16th and 17th, the 2 sides that could contest the Europa League final this year.
Yeah.
Sums up their seasons, doesn't it?
It just sums up how poor they are as well. I mean, today, 96-minute equaliser against a 10-man Bournemouth.
So, yeah.
But it's how far they've come as well. You sort of, when we're doing our predictions, you go, Bournemouth will win.
Yeah.
You're surprised that Bournemouth haven't won.
Well, how they've been this season.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's been a...
It's been like the last 2-3 seasons, really.
Yeah. And obviously
it's not just the manager.
They've won trophies, but... the league form, as most people say, is the bread and butter. And as you say, it's been like that.
But how they've won those trophies... I mean, that League Cup, they hardly played anyone, did they? And then they had a blinder by getting Dubravka in goal for them and then sending him back. You can't play him. And having Karius in goal against them. And then, the FA Cup, I mean...
Is the semi-final against Coventry.
What was it? 3-0 up, weren't they?
Yeah. And for a toenail, they would have been knocked out. But credit where credit's due, they beat City in the final.
Oh, yeah, they played
deserve
well
to beat City in the final.
Yeah, but geez, yeah.
But you talk about how far they've come, how poor they've been over multiple seasons now, and therefore it can't just be the manager.
It's just like a circus there, isn't it?
It will be very soon, yeah. Maybe in the Championship. Fingers crossed. But you compare it to Wolves, for example, who, since Vitor Pereira has come in, has obviously changed formation to a similar formation that Amorim's playing. When he was appointed, Pereira, Wolves were 18 points behind United. They're now 2 in front of them.
Yeah, I know. That's a shocking
They've won
stat, isn't it?
6 on the bounce. 6 on the bounce.
They've also got a better goalkeeper.
Jose Sarr, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stat is unreal.
I don't know. Do you want to talk about any of the other Premier League bits that I've mentioned in there, or do you want to come to the FA Cup?
I'll talk about the Southampton equaling Derby's points record, because that was a massive thing on Match of the Day, or no, Soccer Saturday.
Yeah.
That was going on about, they've equalled it, blah blah blah. It's like they're still relegated. So all right, so they've equalled the points.
We're not the worst team in the world in the Premier League ever.
Well, by goal difference, but
I know.
if they lose the rest of their games, they still only made 11 points.
Out of a possible 114.
Please, you could have stuck 11 men behind the ball and got 38 and survived and drawn every match.
Well, that's
Well, you could have drawn 34 of them.
Yeah.
You'd be fine.
Insert Burnley for next season, or what they're going to try and do under Scott Parker is what I think will happen.
Maybe, yeah. Won't be playing out from the back like old Vincent.
They'll try a little bit, but that's why I know we had this conversation again on the last episode.
Did we mention about the Troy Deeney, what he said on Match Today too?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Do you finish your
No,
point
go on.
you
You go.
Also, a couple of weeks ago now, I was talking about all three promoted teams. And he was saying they've come from like Pep's school of thinking of having to play out from the back and blah, blah, blah. And it's all well and good and easy on the eye. But they need to make themselves hard to beat. And they need to win games and be dirty. Not dirty, but like bitty.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And he was spot on. It was just like, otherwise this is going to happen to you. You're just going to get outplayed.
There's many different ways to win a game of football. And as much as playing that way might be more attractive on the eye when it comes off, at least, well, when you're playing teams that aren't better than you, playing that way is absolutely fine. But if you're playing teams that are better than you, they will rip you to shreds. That's why I know you said that both Burnley and Leeds will go down next season, and you might be right, but with the managers they've got in charge, because they play slightly differently, obviously Leeds
Leeds will be back down.
Very attacking, but the side's better than them in the Premier League. So if they persist playing that way, then it is only going to go one way.
But what they'll do is they'll get the best talent from Ipswich, Leicester.
Where's Muric? What's he doing?
And Southampton. Jamie Vardy's available.
Yeah, he's better than Bamford.
Yeah, damn right, he's better than Bamford.
Yeah, well, he hasn't scored a league goal this season, I don't think.
Bamford.
Yeah, they started Perot up top instead. Yeah, but Burnley, by comparison, just because of their clean sheet record and being a little bit more pragmatic, maybe they will try and come up next year and play a bit differently. They're probably going to get pelters for it, that they're going to be called boring and whatever else, but if you want to survive at the moment, you have to try something a little bit different. They tried playing out from the back under company. They got ripped to shreds. Yep. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's come to the last bit. Just a quick mention of the FA Cup. How good were Palace against Villa? Specifically that game, because obviously the Forest City game was played today. I haven't really watched that much, and it was more just disappointing that City beat Forest in the manner that they did. But let's talk about the Palace Villa game, because that was
very good game.
Exciting.
Yeah, very good game. I saw the clip about how he was saying, just hope it's a good game, and it was a good game.
It was a good game.
And 3-0, Villa Villa weren't poor by any means. Even at 1-2-0, they were still taking the game to Palace, and Palace were putting men behind the ball. But no, Palace deserved their win. Anthony Taylor robbed Mateta of a perfectly decent goal in the first half. Mm-hmm. And then Eze scored shortly after that. And I think, did they sound punditry? They expect Martinez to do better.
Do you really think Martinez should have saved it? Or should have done better?
If he's supposed to be world class, yeah. Mm. And I even think for Sarr's goal, from the distance it's been hit, because he looked annoyed with himself after that had gone in as well.
He did, yeah.
So, but no, fair play to Palace. And I'm pleased they won as well, because did you see when Mateta missed the penalty? Konza was almost, it looked like he was from the angle screaming in his face. It's like, you're still 1-0 down.
I know. It was just funny because 5 minutes after that, they then went and scored again.
Yeah. Yeah, but cause the commentators were saying, games can turn on that. And I was like, I hope it doesn't, because Palace have done really well here.
Yeah.
And yeah, just congratulations to City on winning their FA Cup. So, you know.
Well, did you see any of the Palace City game the other week at the Etihad? This Palace
2-0 up. And then Eze was just offside, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. But it gives me a bit of hope that maybe they can do something in the final, but they've got to be defensively better and you've got to take your chances.
Yeah, hopefully they do.
It would just be nice to see somebody different win it, because I don't think Palace have ever won it.
They've never won it, no. It'd be brilliant if they won it.
Got to 3 finals. Oh, sorry, this will be their third final. Yeah. 2 finals. Obviously 1990 against United, which was when Ian Wright did what Ian Wright did, but they
drew. They replayed, didn't they?
They went to replay back then, and then 2016 against United again. Yeah. After Jason Puncheon scored.
Don't celebrate too early.
Yeah. Well, that was because we talked about it in the last episode. That was 10 minutes left, not 10 minutes in, from my memory. Because then, even though he shouldn't have been celebrating like that, you do it at the end of the game.
Yeah.
But Rooney scored after that, I think, and then Lingard scored the winner. I might be wrong on who scored the first, but I remember Lingard scoring the winner in extra time.
Oh, okay.
See what happens though.
Yeah.
Certainly be a good game, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah, again, another good game, and hopefully City win. Not. Hopefully Palace win.
Yeah.
As the mayor from Philadelphia said, ELGLES, Eagles. Or whatever she spelled it. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it, no.
Because you know the American football team, Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
She completely missed the A. EGLES or ELGLES. Bless her.
Yeah, watching too much Simpsons, but fair enough. Do you want to have a quick word for Liverpool as well? The fact that they won the league today, or is there anything really to say about it?
They won the league 4 weeks ago, didn't they?
Yeah.
It's been done, like the relegation place has been done.
But it's been confirmed.
So,
today.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, congratulations, Liverpool. Best team by far this season.
Nice.
Nice. What more do you want to say?
There isn't anything to say.
They haven't been put under any pressure whatsoever, have they?
But it shouldn't detract how well they've played at times this season, because the last few weeks I think they dropped
The
off
first
a little bit.
2/3 of the season, yeah.
Well, they deserve to be where they are, so that's all
Yeah.
there really to say about it. I guess the biggest thing for them, or two things. One, because when they won the league last time, it was during COVID, so the fans couldn't celebrate properly inside the stadium. They couldn't get a proper trophy lift. So on that part, it will be quite nice for them and their fans specifically. But two, it draws them level with United now, doesn't it, again, of 20 titles. So
Yeah.
and they certainly look more likely to win a 21st by comparison to United.
Yeah, very true. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Salah's another year older next season.
2-year deal though, isn't he? Or 3-year deal, whatever it is.
I don't know. I was quite surprised by that. Especially with everything he's been saying in post-match.
He's just waiting for more money, wasn't
Yeah. More money. Like.
he? Well, Van Dijk signed as well.
Yeah, I know. But who hasn't signed?
Trent.
Yeah, because he's leaving.
Although,
He's gone.
based on the Madrid antics over the last few weeks...
Nah, he'll be going there. Has Ancelotti lost his job now as well? Because I saw reports that after the Copa del Rey, he was going anyway.
So those reports came out after they got knocked out of the Champions League, which for me, I just find ridiculous. Like what he's achieved at that club.
Yeah.
Wait
Twice.
until
In two separate stints.
Wait until the end of the season.
Yeah.
Give the guy a sign off at the end of the
they're
time.
still in
there.
for the league, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 4 points behind Barcelona, and I know the games are running out, but you never know what can happen over the final few weeks.
I mean, it's disrespectful. I know they're not firing on all cylinders, but please, like you say, some of the stuff. And then you look at some of the managers they've had in between. But I think, is it Xabi Alonso? Is he going there, do you think?
By the sounds of it, yeah, because obviously he's had another year at Bayer Leverkusen, and I know they're not going to win the league this year. It's very unlikely they're going to win the league, but there's not been a massive drop-off. Like they've still been close to Bayern, and the size of Bayern, the power behind that club in Germany, like they're still...
Well, he had to give it a go, didn't he? Surely, to try and retain his title.
Well, likewise, and they give it a go in the Champions League, because obviously they got to the Europa League final last year, but got done by Atalanta. But they had a decent... I know they, again, got knocked out by Bayern Munich in the Champions League, but they finished in the top 8, so a decent a run there. See what he does in the Champions League. But yeah, Ancelotti's going to Brazil, by the sounds of it. He hasn't yet.
As national manager?
Yeah, as national manager.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I say he's the best manager ever, don't I?
You do.
If he wins the World Cup,
maybe
that just solidifies that.
Well, they need somebody to revitalise them, because obviously Argentina in recent years have gone like that, and Brazil have plateaued and declined. The manager that they did have, Dorival Jr., I think, has done very well in club football in Brazil, but wasn't up to scratch on the international level. So bringing somebody of Ancelotti's calibre, he's obviously also worked with some of the current Brazil squad by playing at Madrid, Vinicius Jr. to name one. See what happens.
Rodrigo to name another?
Yeah, to name two. And so that's just in mind with the World Cup next year.
And don't forget, in Richarlison, he's got a striker that scored 19 goals in 40 games. Do the math. That's a goal a game.
Ian, right. On that note, that's all we need to say on that one. Mental, absolutely mental. But thank you ever so much for joining me. Do you have anything more to add to say that you want to talk about?
No, I'm good. No,
Yeah.
all good.
Got it all out, yeah?
I think so. Well, there was a Futurama reference earlier when he said he was on acid. And I was like, oh, there's something wrong with that hippie.
My hands. You should have brought it up. I love the old Futurama references.
Bring me the one you call McNeil. That was the surname that you was looking for.
Better than The Simpsons. That. And on that note, thank you ever so much for watching, listening. Yeah, please like, subscribe, comment, do all the usuals. And you shall hear us or see us wherever you get your podcast from on the next one. Thank you very much.